Well, the dynamic gene conservation means that we are trying to conserve the genetic processes within tree populations so that they can continue the continuous adaptation to a changing environmental conditions.
So this is man helping nature?
Yes, it's facilitating the natural processes, and I would emphasize that we are not trying to preserve the current genetic diversity as it is found in a given stand, but really trying to ensure that the processes can continue. And the concept of dynamic gene conservation is based on the concept or principles that genetic resources or diversities in continuous change. It's very dynamic. One important aspect is to keep in mind that you can do dynamic gene conservation. It's not only limited the areas where you conserve habitats or certain species. Dynamic gene conservation can be also carried out in the production forest or forest which are managed for multiple benefits, and in some cases even natural stands which have been selected for seed collection. They serve as a purpose for dynamic gene conservation. And one important aspect is that in many cases conservation areas for habitats or species, they have been established without any consideration regarding the genetic diversity, what kind of genetic diversity you are conserving there. And secondly, in many cases genetic conservation often requires active management interventions, so you can favor the target tree species population, whereas in many habitat or species conservation areas usually the approach is that it's very limited interventions, or basically no management is allowed, and depending on the tree species, especially for the rare or scattered tree species, this is not a suitable approach. They need active management.
So examples of dynamic gene conservation might be moving trees hundreds of miles, or moving a forest, or...
Yes, you can do that. Many of these dynamic gene conservation units, they are based in natural populations, but you can also do that. You have a population you have transplanted into other location. It can be either native tree species or even introduced tree species. But the main point is that you then allow this man-made population to continue its natural processes, so that the genetic diversity is continuously changing, and also the adaptation can take place in these artificial populations.
Now we're here in Vienna launching a tool to help this whole process of dynamic gene conservation. So how does it work?
Well, basically for the first time ever the countries have agreed harmonized data standards, and also in maybe what is more important in this project, we agreed minimum requirements for these dynamic gene conservation units. So basically this gives guidelines for the countries how they should manage these units.
So this is the limits of viability.
Yes, and so that of course it's important when we are using this data for the further analysis, so we can make sure that the data is comparable across the countries at the pan-European level.
And what can you do with the portal? What useful things, what sort of tool is it?
It's a very useful and interesting tool. Actually, we already see many uses for it. Already this year, the Forest Europe process have started preparation for the next report for the Minister Conference in Oslo in 2011. And for this purpose, they have asked countries to report the gene conservation efforts as part of the criteria indicators for sustainable forest management. So countries also benefit on this, that they only have the information in one place when they start providing data. And at the same time, the FAO has started a similar effort at the global level by developing the State of the World Forest Genetic Resources report, which should be ready by 2011.
So is there a need for a global UFGIS, something that helps you jump across the Mediterranean and look at trees in North Africa because they might be the trees we need in Europe.
For sure, I think this would be an excellent idea. Of course, we have to keep in mind that sometimes the concepts based on which we have built up the EUFGIS and the minimum requirements, of course, these are now tailored for the European conditions. And of course, when you move to other regions, you may have different forest ecosystems, different way of countries have implementing the efforts. But in principle, yes, I think it's at least there are very many useful lessons for other regions to pick up and depending on which way they want to actually then implement.